Florida. So here we are, start of day 3. We're in Llanddewi Brefi, nearly forgot that, and we're walking to Lampeter today, which is a distance of about 9 and a bit of your Earth miles, which I think is about 14 kilometres. It should be a little bit less challenging than yesterday, always hope for that. There's been some rain overnight, so the ground may be a bit soggy, but we're not looking at any rain today with any luck. So there we go. We'll see you on the way. This is the book that we're using to guide us walking the Teifi Valley Trail. I'm not getting any kickbacks from them, but it's a pretty good book. If I had one criticism of it, it would be that it doesn't give distances along the way. It describes the things you need to look out for, but not how far they are between. So it might say turn left after such a distance, but it's hard to spot exactly sometimes where you are. But it's a good book. Well, we've come up the hill from Llanddewi Brefi, and we're just walking along a very pretty, if slightly muddy, little lane along the side of the hill. We've just passed a rather beautiful patch of a plant that we didn't know, but we looked up. Turns out it's called Enchanter's Nightshade, which I think is a rather cool name. We've got this lovely moss-covered stone wall to the side of the path, and we're going to follow it up that way a little bit until we get to an unclassified road, which we're then going to walk along for a little way. And it's really very nice. A little bit cooler today, which is good, because it was quite hot and sweaty the last couple of days. Not that it's not going to get sweaty today, but it's not bad. Yeah, that's squelching. A little bit muddy underfoot, thanks to last night's rain. Beautiful little lane though, and we're not being troubled by horseflies today, at least not yet. Though we have been up into woodland and it's all quite damp, all good conditions for those miserable creatures, but yeah, it seems to be okay today. I'm a big fan of insects. I do like a beetle, but I think yesterday, if I had been wearing the glove of Thanatos, I would quite happily have clicked my fingers and rid the entire world of all its horseflies. Although, of course, if I'd been wearing the glove of Thanatos, they probably wouldn't have been able to bite me on the hand anyway. So I guess the point is moot. Back on the road for a little bit of road walking. Not very far, I don't think, and then we're going to cross the Teifi on a bridge which is supposed to be particularly appealing, and a listed, well, I wouldn't say building, listed structure, which I'm guessing is down the hill here. Let's see. It looks like the bridge up ahead. A multiple arch bridge, apparently. There's even a handy sign to warn you that there's a bridge, in case you're not familiar with the concept. Not sure what that was. Tempted to say it was a J, but I'm not sure. Didn't really get a good look. here's the bridge and some cows guarding it. Hello, ladies. And here's the river. Well, the river's really quite nice now. It's a lot broader than when we last saw it. But then, I was going to say it's flowing a lot more, but then we had some rain last night. So I guess that's helped a little bit. Looks very clear. Not proposing to take a drink from it, but still. And on this side, we have the beefs. Lovely. I'm going to resort to the slightly ridiculous technique of standing by a fence. Can't even see what I'm taking a picture of now. There we go. Standing the other side of a hedge, some distance down the road, because all the gates into all the fields are wired closed with barbed wire. And really, I just want to get a view of the bridge, but I think we've got it here. You can see it's quite a pretty multiple arch bridge. I hope the cow doesn't assert their rights to their image. Well, just a very nice spot of lunch and a little rest. We're about shade over halfway through the walk, I think, and it's not been too bad today. We've got a lovely spot here, which I will show you in a sec. We are, I think the Teifi is down at the bottom of the valley there. It's clouded over a little bit now. It's been quite sunny all morning. We've had no rain since first thing, which has been nice. And this is just a lovely spot, really. So now we're going to progress through this field, out the other side, and then we carry on. We reach a point where we can go one of two ways. The book talks about some of the fields that you would pass through by the banks of the Teifi as being often filled with cattle, and so for people with dogs there's an alternative route, or people who don't like walking through fields of cattle. Now we have no dog and we have no particular dislike of cattle, but the alternative route, as it turns out, is through woodland, and we do love a bit of woodland, so we're going to be taking the alternative route through the long wood instead. The alternative route now, which is walking through the long woods, as they're known. Not quite sure why they're called that. Yes, and it's a very easy path. It's quite a stiff climb to get up to it, but nice sort of forestry track walking through here. I think it's not terribly wild in the sense that it's probably used by quite a lot of people for dogging and things like that, but it's still very pleasant and green. There are red squirrels up here apparently, although I confess to not having seen any yet, but then only about 100 meters into the woods, so maybe we will. Anyway, I'll show you a bit more pointing the other way. There we are, that's the track. It's more of a road really, through the long woods. A nice mixture of trees. There's beeches, there's birches. Not seeing any oak at the moment, but we've seen quite a lot of beautiful old oaks on the way up here, and indeed walked through a field, a meadow really, with lots of wildflowers, where there were old oak trees all the way along one edge. And it must have been a very good year for acorns last year, because the whole of the ground underneath was just a carpet of oak seedlings, no more than 5 centimetres high. Of course, they won't all survive, but it was very, very pretty. There's been a bit of felling up here, and I noticed there are also some younger trees. So I wonder if what they're doing is felling the pines that were, or the firs, I can never tell the difference between the two, which were non-native, planted presumably for timber, and gradually replacing them with more well, native species, deciduous trees. There's quite a few pines or firs. I really must learn the difference on that side, so maybe they'll be next. Maybe if I zoomed in far enough, you can count the growth rings on those felled pines or firs and see how long ago they were planted. I wonder what lives under there. Start alpha, probably. Well, we've come to the end of the long wood. May not look like it, but here we have. There's just a little bit of woodland here. And now we're going to beautiful beechwood here. Sorry, I just got distracted there for a moment because it is absolutely fantastic. We're going to follow this rather elegant ride down into Lampeter, and this will take us straight down there to our destination. So walk with me. Don't have any choice really, do you? Down to Lampeter. The whole floor is just beech leaves, packed down beech leaves, partly rotted. It's lovely and soft, spongy underfoot. The colours don't really come through on the video. The light is absolutely gorgeous. It's been a very nice walk through that bit of woodland. Not maybe the most wild countryside, but there's some interesting stuff going on. It's a community managed piece of woodland, and they've got volunteers doing all sorts of wood related activities for children and adults. We've got a little open air theatre. We've got a visitor centre all made out of wood from the forest wood, I suppose, and it's got a really nice feel about it. Clearly they're doing a bit of clearing or tidying up here. So pretty soon we're going to emerge from this wood onto essentially a road. and then it stops getting terribly interesting for a little while. Although Lampeter itself is quite a nice little town. Is it a town or a city? I think it's a town. It has a university at the moment, or at least has a campus of Trinity St David's University of Wales, I think. But that is currently under threat of closure. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Mind the footing here a little bit, it's a tiny bit lumpy. But just look at that. Beech wood at its finest. Okay, summary of day 3. It's fairly straightforward, not too much climb or descent. Some, but not too much. Walking is fairly easy. Quite a lot of it, especially if you take the alternate route through the woodland, which is very nice, is on fairly flat, firm ground, and so you can cover it in good time. There are some nice views, nothing dramatic or spectacular, but just really nice, pleasant countryside, very peaceful. Yeah, very pleasant. There does seem to be, and I couldn't guarantee this, there seems to be one small bit in the book that describes following a fence line where the fence does seem to have been removed since the book went to print, or presumably since the map that was being used to because the Ordnance Survey map still shows the fence there, but it doesn't seem to be in real life. But that doesn't really cause a problem. You just follow straight across the field where the fence line would have been, and all is well. So overall, yes, nice day, and we're looking forward to day 4, which is also a relatively short day before the potential rigours of day 5, which is quite long, with quite a bit of ascent and descent as well. Bye for now.